Startups and small businesses are vital for a thriving U.S. economy, and engineers possess the skills to launch companies and create jobs. I believe engineers should thus be encouraged and nurtured into having an entrepreneurial mindset so that the amazing ideas and research in our labs can benefit society. The development of the Innovation District on Ohio State's West Campus and a recently announced partnership with the state of Ohio will help Ohio State prepare more engineers to be entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs. And sometimes students need role models to see other students that are flexing their entrepreneurial muscles. In this podcast, I like to highlight one group that is definitely flexing in an energy space. Yes, energy, the kind that powers your cell phones, your electric cars, and yes, even football tailgates. Last year, 4 Buckeye student engineers launched a company called Electrion that does just that. They're attracting media coverage from the likes of Forbes magazine, and they recently received an initial financial investment from Megajoule Ventures. Welcome. I'm Ayanna Howard, Dean of Engineering at The Ohio State University, and this is Enginuity. Due to COVID precautions, and because it's such a lovely, gorgeous fall day in Columbus, we're recording this episode in Knowlton Hall's rooftop garden. Anita Nti is a fourth-year computer science and engineering major at Ohio State. She digs fashion and loves to read. Oh, and she's the CEO of Electrion, a startup company commercializing their energy storage as a service concept. Danny Freudiger just earned his PhD in mechanical engineering at Ohio State. When he arrived here a few years back, he founded the Smart Campus Student Group, a multidisciplinary organization that develops innovative solutions through collaborative efforts and project-based teams to improve the Ohio State community. Then he co-founded Electrion. Anita and Danny, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So, okay, before we start talking about the company and all the cool things it's doing, tell us about the team members that aren't here today.
Yeah. So there's Jacob, who is an electrical, an ECE major, and he is I like to term him as our creative genius, who is behind a lot of the amazing designs that you see on our pack designs and on our website, and kind of drives that creative force on our team. And then we have Caleb as well, who is heavy on the creative side as well, and then also on the operation side of things as well too, in terms of how we transport the packs and how we're dispersing them at our locations. And they're both musicians as well too, so that's a really great feature about them. Caleb plays the drums and Jacob plays the piano.
Okay, so you use engineers and creativity like multiple times, just so that you know, engineers are creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet? Like, how did this come about?
So I can talk about how we kind of first met. So actually, as part of Smart Campus, we're kind of based out of the Center for Automotive Research here at Ohio State, and one of the things that we typically do is we go around to different different events around Columbus. And so actually, I was up working a table at the Chase Mobility Week at I think was it up in Polaris?
Yeah. Polaris, yeah.
And just happened to be sitting there at the table. Anita was interning there at the time, and she came over and asked, what the heck are you guys doing here, and what do you do at Ohio State? And so we told her, and she was, just eager to come see CAR and everything that it has to offer. And so as I was taking her around on tour, started, explaining Smart Campus and what we do, and really from there, the rest, they say, is history. She just jumped right in, was a super active member right out of the gate, brought in Jacob and Caleb with her, and the four of us kind of really meshed and hit it off, and it's just been a great kind of team chemistry, I think, ever since then.
Okay, so it sounds like this connection was pretty random.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, though, this is how it started. Like, this is the company's start and how it was envisioned. And so, I mean, tell me a little bit about how did you even start a portable power company? I mean, I'm, eating lunch and, things about, energy. I just need more portable power. It just doesn't come to mind.
So, I mean, growing up, I went to a lot of Ohio State football games, just through a couple of family members that went through here. And so, I'm no stranger to the tailgate scene at OSU. And, as you kind of as you're around it enough, you kind of start to pick up on certain things. And, I don't know, we were actually just kind of hanging out one day with Smart Campus. And one of the things we like to do is, as we're thinking about campus and the different problems and stuff like that, just try to see if we can't come up with some creative solutions around it. And so one of the things I, just kind of brought up is like, there's just a lot of like these gas generators at these tailgates. I mean, that's got to be a problem, right? I mean, and so, really from there we just started talking about, well, okay, we did the math, we did the numbers, and we kind of did the calculations. Like, okay, yeah, there's probably several thousand generators on a game day, throughout the football season, and then backed out some of the emissions numbers, and you quickly realize that, I mean, shoot, this is a pretty big environmental problem. So again, then we started getting into the solution phase of it, and started kicking around ideas, and came up with the idea of, well, can we swap these out for battery packs? Can we entice people to do that? And we saw the cost is probably a bit of an issue. So then it was like, okay, well, how do we overcome that hurdle? And so, well, what if we did it as a service and started to rent it out? And that's, I think, really the idea. That's how it was kind of just kind of came about. And you can talk about the sustainability grant and all that.
Yeah. And I think that, like, as Danny was mentioning, like, since we were always in this space, we were always having these types of conversations in general every week when we were having meetings and everything else. And so with the emergence of the Sustainability Institute and, like, their funding for student projects, we thought it'd be, like, the perfect opportunity to actually get funding for this project and explore this a bit more. And just kind of just talking to more people at tailgates and really seeing, is this is a problem that we've identified, but how big of a problem is it to the actual tailgaters, you would say. So I think that our chemistry and our conversations that we would have was really the genesis of it all.
Yeah.
Has really kept us going.
So you see a problem, you develop a solution, and you even had the skills to do this.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I guess part of them. Some of the things, if you're passionate enough about it, if you don't have the skills, you find out where you can go to learn them and develop them and stuff like that. I'd say as a team, we had a lot of different skill sets. And again, I think what makes us a really good kind of partnership together. But yeah, we just, as kind of the journey has gone along, we've all had to learn different skill sets that we didn't have before, and just try to keep up with each other and solve this problem.
So given that you put all these skills together, I need to just ask, are the Electrion portable power packs actually being used by, okay, I'm going to say fans, but I'm going to throw in Buckeye fans?
Yeah. So when we originally first got the Sustainability Institute grant, our goal was to debut them at in the fall season, and then unfortunately COVID happened, so that kind of delayed our efforts. But we are jumping back into some beta testing this fall with tailgates in these next couple coming up Saturdays, and that's really exciting because we will finally be able to just start focusing on the voice of the customer and really, we're engineers, so we think we've developed an amazing product, but now we really want to see what the people think, and there may be just in terms of how do they want to get the energy, how long are they using it for, do they even care about how they order it, whether it's through an app or do they just want to submit something online. We're going to finally start getting some answers to those questions that'll better drive our direction in terms of improving our product. So.
Yeah, I think, Anita, you really touched on something important there that, as engineers, we like to focus a lot on the technology, and we think we have a really awesome product, and we just want to, push it out and focus on the technology, but it's really the people you're trying to serve that are really important. And so, getting their feedback and, understanding really how they would use the product that you're trying to put out there, and so you can make, tweaks and updates and improve their experience. I think that's really a huge part of the entrepreneurial journey that we're all kind of learning as we go through this process.
Okay, so as we know, no product can really overcome first encounter with the customer. And so if you think about the today, walk me through how the service, how the power packs work based on your current prototype product.
One of the biggest things that we've been trying to focus on is the experience or the journey that we kind of take the person or the Buckeye fan that's ordering this pack, and that's okay, their first encounter of Electrion, and that's going to be how they're inquiring about the service or how they're ordering the service. So that's with them starting off by telling us, okay, when they need the power and what exactly they're going to be powering, so the when, what, and where, and then how we are delivering those packs and trying to deliver them in a sustainable manner as well too. So we've explored the e-bikes and having like a location on campus where we would disperse the packs from there, and then delivering those packs, and then how the user would then be able to turn them on through the app, or we could just switch it on as well in terms of like an MVP model, and then as well as us collecting the packs or picking up the packs after their use. So as I was mentioning earlier, like the experience or the journey that we want people to have is, especially when it comes to clean energy, we want their encounter to be positive, and we want to encourage them to use it or increase the adoption rate of clean energy as well too. So we're trying to be very intentional with how we're going to be delivering these and how we're engaging with them, because that all plays into their experience and how well they actually are going to, enjoy the service and continue using it possibly as well too.
No, it's not too much to add on my end, but from the battery perspective, we actually develop our own like battery monitoring systems, and so we do that, and then we have a kind of some cloud connectivity component to these battery packs. So as Anita mentioned, there's an app, and the people, the customers that are using the generator, the electric generator can basically see in real time their energy usage, the state of charge that's remaining, and all that kind of good stuff. And then also from our end, that we can monitor how they're using it and learn how people are using it and all that kind of stuff. Not only from improving our product, but also from a safety perspective too. It looks like somebody's using it in a way that they shouldn't or something like that. We can turn it off or cut power to it and all that kind of stuff. Just to be kind of monitoring and watching and really learning and understanding how people interact and engage with it.
Okay, so you use the word battery and power packs, and you also use the word about the experience, data, cloud connected. I think this is the beautiful thing about engineering, is that it is computational and it's hardware and it's battery, which is just real lovely. I love it. Okay, so if you think about the tailgates, and this is your first market that you're kind of exploring, what other markets do you envision? Are you trying to enter?
I think that in terms of other markets, I think that the great part about Electrion is that in terms of like energy storage, there's a lot, in terms of like grid storage that's, happening all around the world, but we're very focused on the smaller scale. And with our second life batteries that we're using as well too, we're really extending the life of them through the smaller use cases. So I think that focusing on like for example, like event spaces, and if we're in Columbus where we're never short of events or festivals, and those opportunities where there are multiple opportunities to have vendors and people can have their own table, and then there's like packages where they can have their service of a power pack with their table as they're arriving for the events and everything else. And I think just another also market that we could break into is like roadside assistance with our packs as well. So that's definitely some of the ones that we've been thinking and considering.
Yeah. I mean, you really don't have to step too far outside campus to see all the different use cases. I mean, Ohio State's so big, there's just endless opportunities. And the other thing too that's kind of interesting is you don't have to just, I think we tend to think outside and you need mobile power outside. Well, that's not even true either. Like you think of, here in Columbus, we host the Arnold every year. I mean, getting a table or a booth next to an outlet, that's a premium space. So there are other people that, hey, I just need to power a laptop. I don't want to pay extra to be, near an outlet or something like that. Well, we could just, drop off a little battery pack there, and then it's, it's indoors, but they just need it for, a small application. So, I think we've talked on end about all the different use cases, but we have to try to keep in mind too. We're excited about all the opportunities, but we have to also try and stay focused as a startup too, and pick our kind of target use case, and then once we get in there, and then expand out and all that stuff.
So earlier I mentioned Megajoule Ventures and the investment. Can you tell us what you are going to use that for, or how it's going to position you in this space?
Yeah, so that initial investment from Megajoule was, I think, roughly $250,000. And that's really just to kind of jumpstart this from like a smaller student project to obviously a more, startup entrepreneurial activity, and really give it a kind of like this chance to really get off the ground and see what we can do with it. So that funding right now is going into different things, just new equipment and new design. And we have a new case for our battery packs being 3D printed right now. Again, we're trying to be through every part of the process be as sustainable as possible, and so with the additive manufacturing piece of that, you can save a lot on the materials side by doing a 3D print. Obviously, there's some interesting challenges with that when you talk about being rough, durable and waterproof. But we've actually working with our 3D printing vendor to come up with some pretty creative solutions around that as well to make it actually a waterproof kind of 3D printed case. Pretty cool stuff on that end. But it's really just to give us the flexibility and freedom to explore the different ideas that we have. And as Anita's been talking about, as we learn from the customer, there's things we probably haven't even thought of yet. And it's nice to, every idea kind of needs, some funding to back it, so you can explore those opportunities, and that's really what it's kind of designed to do.
Beautiful. So as you might know, I'm an entrepreneur too. So 8 years, the company still is alive and still
great.
pushing forward. But, one of the things, I want to ask each of you is, given your experience so far, one, what's the best part about launching a startup? And then two, the hardest part.
Oh, gosh. I would say the best part is just like the thrill of everything. Like, you never know what to expect. I mean, every week looks different, every day looks different, things change so quickly, so the excitement is always there. But also too, I think that, and the other side of that is just like the uncertainty that comes along with it, and in terms of what's next, and being unsure of what's coming, and if this will really survive, because there's so many failure stories, which you can learn a lot from. But of course, we want ours to be a successful one. So
Yeah.
I think
we hope, right?
We hope,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. So, yeah.
So I would probably say there's two really big things that I kind of find interesting. The one is just the many different hats that you have to wear as an entrepreneur, and you have to step outside your comfort zone. It's really good because you get to add to your skill set, but it's also can be a little scary too, because you have to interact with people, that may, let's say you're talking about a business opportunity. You have to understand what a business model is and like a financial model, which you don't necessarily learn in the classroom, right? Especially as an engineer. And so, you're kind of learning as you go along, and you have to interact with people that know a lot more about it than you do, and you got to keep up with them and all that stuff. So it's good and bad on that. The other thing I would add too is when you kind of step out of the classroom space and get into the business side, you realize very quickly that you're a part of this like larger kind of global economy, and so things you hear about on the news that are impacting these huge, massive companies actually also impact you. I mean, we're experiencing the same, supply shortage that a lot of the large automotive OEMs are experiencing as well, and it's a pretty cool realization, but at the same time, you kind of go with the way the world is going too, right? I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing to kind of be a part of and gain exposure to.
So what advice would you tell others then?
I think that one piece of advice that I think is the most relevant to just like right now for me would be, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are a lot of people that have walked these paths that have made mistakes, and it's an opportunity to learn from them. And so there's a lot of things that I don't know, and I'm starting to realize that that's okay. And there are people that are willing to sit down and take a couple minutes to explain something and help you along the way. So
yeah, that's I'll maybe just add like another thing. I've had a few friends that have gone through the startup space as well, and some of them just think they've got to do everything on their own, and that's just not. As Anita said, that's not true. There's always resources that are available to ask questions and get help. And really, I mean, if I had to give any, just do it. I mean, just that's you just believe in your. I mean, really, it's like the belief that you can do it, and you can learn what you need to do to be successful. You can learn those skills that you don't know that you don't know yet. I think fear is a big thing that prevents people from doing it. So you just gotta kind of overcome that and just take the leap.
So just do it, believe in yourself.
I don't want to be cliche about it, but it really is true. Like, I mean, if you have the confidence that you can do it, then, you know, especially if you have the passion for it, you'll put a good effort into it, and like the outcome will be positive. I mean, that's really, I think, what it boils down to.
You know, so thinking about, and it's clear that you're passionate about this, and so I'm going to kind of talk a little bit then about passion and engineering and thinking about where you are today. So I read somewhere that Electrion, your team, isn't just about making, you know, megawatt billions, but you also are interested in STEM outreach.
So our education and outreach program is actually a really special piece to us, especially with more than half of our team being minorities, and then me also being a woman as well. When we were starting Electrion, we really realized that these are a lot of experiences that we never really had when we were in high school. And so being able to go back and teaching and giving students the opportunity to learn about IoT and sustainability and how we're kind of putting all those pieces together is a really cool thing. And then as well as not just going into the classrooms, but being able to allow them to create their own projects through what they're learning with us, and then coming back and seeing what they've built with that. So I think that just going back and inspiring, and then them seeing what, you know, we were able to do with with the little knowledge that we kind of learned, and then just inspiring them to go out and do their own as early as they can.
Among the chirping crickets and birds and occasional planes, I want to thank you so much for this great conversation. And best of luck to Electrion. I can't wait to see what's next for the team.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for your well wishes.
Yep, thanks, Dean Howard. Appreciate the amazing opportunity.
So I hope students and future entrepreneurs everywhere hear this. It is possible to be a student and an entrepreneur at the same time. Easy? Well, maybe not. But it sure sounds like Anita, Danny, Jacob, and Caleb are enjoying the journey and are excited about the future. And I am reaffirming our commitment to build a nurturing environment for establishing an entrepreneurial mindset. If you like what you heard and are interested in learning more or suggesting topics, be sure to connect with us on Twitter or Facebook at OSU Engineering. Thanks for listening.